I'm back from vacation and welcome everyone to Amazon Ads Raw Daily. It's been 2 weeks since I have not recorded a daily episode of this podcast, and now I'm back in the driver's seat. Today we're going to talk about some of the newest developments and updates on the Amazon ecosphere. We talk about the earnings of Amazon, the Amazon Q2 2023 earnings, which have been released last week, I think, and have been very positive. So today will be all about this, and tomorrow we talk about API and advertising specific updates. There have been many. One big thing I want to already sneak peek into is sponsored display campaigns are opening up in a beta for non-endemic advertisers, which means for advertisers who are not actually selling on Amazon. So like DSP, sponsored display is now opening up for sellers, for non-Amazon sellers to advertise. But let's focus on Amazon Q2 earnings today a little bit. First of all, what we can see in general, Amazon is growing, and it's growing a lot. And this comes with a couple of challenges and a couple of insights we want to deep dive into today. First of all, Amazon is massive, and it made the move towards efficiency reality. Last year, Amazon was not really efficient, meaning in the Q1 till Q4, we saw an operating margin which was relatively low, and Amazon could improve that margin significantly quarters. So last year they have been around 3 to 2% in Q4, and this year in Q1 we saw 3.7% operating margin and 5.7% in Q2. So they are back at their efficiency. Last time they have been as efficient on the margin was in 2021, where we saw the huge boom of COVID and everybody being at home stuck. So how did they make it? First of all, increased sales. So sales increased roughly 10% for North America and international, mainly driven by third-party seller services, which saw an increase in 16.5% year over year. So the platform is growing, international is growing as well, compared to year over year, but for international, the year over year comps are a little, let's say, biased, as international was shrinking in 2022 compared to 2021. So we saw a dip in the revenue coming from the international markets for the last year by roughly between -5% to -11% compared to 2021. And now we see an increase again. So this basically just means we are back at where we have been already in COVID times with international sales, while US or North America sales are steadily growing at a relatively flat 11% rate year over year now for Q1 and Q2. So this is great. AWS, the cloud business, which is adding the most profit dollars to Amazon, is actually it's not shrinking, it's growing. It's growing with 12% year over year, but the growth rate is deaccelerating. So the growth rate over the last couple of quarters was 40% in Q4 2021. Then we had 36%, 33%, 27%, 20% in Q4 last year, and 16% in Q1 this year, and now we are 12%. So the growth is slowing down on AWS, and the cost cutting here seems to have an effect on its growing business. And compared to Google or Meta, Microsoft compared to Google and Microsoft on the cloud business, AWS is still the biggest cloud business amongst the three, but the growth rate on Azure from Microsoft and Google Cloud is with roughly 30% or 28 or something like that percent, far better than the AWS cloud business growth. But if one business unit is not doing that well, maybe another unit is doing well, and it's the advertising business of Amazon. And this is solid, not to say the least. Advertising is growing with 22%. That is the highest growth rate since a couple of quarters. In Q1, we saw 21%. In Q4, we saw 19%. And the only quarter which was better of the last 4 quarters was Q3 last year with 25%. So Amazon had $10.6 billion coming alone from its advertising, from its retail media business, from all of you guys, from the Amazon sellers. And that's an incredible, huge number. And it's much bigger in terms of growth rates than what we see on Meta or Google, for example. Meta had reported an 11% increase year over year for their advertising business. And it also reported in the last quarters a negative growth rate or a very low growth rate. So while Meta reached a certain dip last year, and now it's growing very slowly in terms of its advertising business, Amazon is still growing very fast. And if Amazon can continue to grow that fast and Meta is not continue growing, or it's growing at its current growth rates, then Amazon advertising could get bigger than Meta advertising relatively soon, in a couple of years. For Google, they still need a lot more to grow. All right, so that's these things. So AWS seems to be a little bit in the rain, I would say. Advertising is huge. The biggest challenge for Amazon itself seems to be they are already at a huge market how do you say, penetration. The market penetration in the US for Amazon is already big, and still they managed to grow 11% in North America. But with 540 billion in revenue in the trailing 12 months, it's really hard to grow another 10%. That means you need to add another 50 billion each quarter to that. And where do you find that incremental revenue coming from? There's a couple of answers to that, and Amazon is trying to get into these. One is health. We can see health subscriptions have been announced in last couple of months. Another one is media. Amazon is going. They have the freebie, which means they're free streaming TV. They have Amazon Prime Video subscription. They're in the Champions League in Europe. They are in the NFL, I think, or NBA in the US. So they are getting into media, their own series, their own games. And telecommunication could be one thing as well. So Project Kuiper or Kuiper, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Cooper, is their own satellite system similar to Starlink, where they would offer then telecommunication services to people. Eventually, it's cheaper if you're a Prime customer, and then they can eat something of the telecommunication cake from the big telco providers. I think in the US, it's AT&T, and a few others as well. And this could be very interesting, as it all kind of fills in this flywheel. If you're a Prime member, you're getting easy access to health, you're getting easy access to telecommunication, you're getting the media. So it's a universal subscription you're paying to cover most of your everyday life services you'll need. And this will kind of connect to where do you buy your stuff as well. So it all seems to be adding up to this flywheel. And let's see how this turns out in the next couple of quarters. I'm still bullish on Amazon. They are doing a very good job at executing. And I think from my own personal opinion, the biggest question here is on, let's say, not telecommunication and whatnot, but in the normal e-commerce selling business, which is the one which directly connects with me the most. The biggest bet they're currently doing is India. India is already, I think, from a population, the biggest country in the world. It's growing, while Chinese population is decreasing, actually. China is, from an economical standpoint, bigger than India, but Amazon is not selling in China, but Amazon is selling in India. And if the Indian market, which has one of the highest e-commerce growth rates in the world, is continue to grow like that, the population is continue to grow, and the whole economical situation around in India is continue to grow, then soon India will be among the highest or the wealthiest countries in the world. So we will see a similar rise than what we saw with China over the last 30 years, with India in the next 30 years. And at the end of the century, both China and India will be one of the major players in the world, I would assume. And if Amazon is successful setting up the e-commerce footprint in China, in India, then this could be very successful if they get a similar penetration like they had in the US, in Germany, or in the UK. Then this is all set up for success. So this will be, for me, the most interesting bet they are currently doing, the India bet. What else do we have on this? Maybe one thing from the earnings is what I reported on is the fastest delivery speeds and cost optimizations. So Amazon reported that on average, from order to delivery, they ended up in the fastest delivery speeds. And the faster they can deliver the goods, the better, I guess, it's for the customers, the higher the conversion rate will be. And we know it from our internal campaigns and whatnot. If we are running low on stock, or we're getting a replenishment, and the delivery is not next day or within the next days, but it's about next week or only in 2 weeks, then conversion rates will drop. So the faster you can deliver, the better your conversion rate might be and will be. So faster delivery could be good news, as we see higher conversions coming from that as well. All right, I think with that, let's talk about some challenges and then we wrap it up. There's a few challenges, obviously, here also for Amazon, especially in the US. It's Chinese e-commerce companies, or companies which are now stepping their foots and their feet into the e-commerce business. And the main ones are TikTok, which just launched an Amazon US store. I think they're live in the UK already with their TikTok shop. I think they just launched the TikTok shop in the US as well, where brands and sellers can directly sell on TikTok. You can link your products within the TikTok videos, and then people watching the TikTok can click on the product and directly purchase within the app from the people selling. So what we currently see is lots of people looking on Amazon for TikTok made me buy it, TikTok buy, TikTok viral trends, TikTok viral products and whatnot. And so people see the products on TikTok, so they discover it on TikTok. And Amazon is not doing a good job at making you discover products. Amazon is doing a good job as a search engine. So to find a product, but you have to know what you want. And TikTok is good at the discovery mode, which is the initial thing to actually come up with product ideas for customers, at least. And with TikTok Shop, we can see, or my prediction is that people will buy products on TikTok directly rather than buying the products on Amazon, because it's a friction. It's another step you need to take from your TikTok app to Amazon. And if you can buy the same product directly from TikTok, why not do it? The other two apps which are famous in the US, it's the Shein and Temu apps, which are coming strong. And Temu is actually from the Chinese e-commerce company Pinduoduo. They have lots of money and deep pockets to push into the US markets, and they're both selling ridiculously cheap products, as both are directly selling from the manufacturers, from the fabrics, without middlemen. So there's basically the manufacturer selling the product directly within the Temu app to the consumer, and with the global logistics, there's a certain contract which basically makes it super cheap for a Chinese seller to send products from China mainland to any other country in the world. And this makes it super cheap for people to actually buy products directly from China, and it's cheaper than buying the same product, or oftentimes the same product, than you would find on Amazon. So this will be a very hard challenge, depending on how big the penetration from these apps will be in the US. Shein has been amongst the top downloaded apps for the last 2 years, and Temu is amongst the top downloaded e-commerce apps for the last months, and both of them will be eating up some parts of the cake from Amazon itself, but eventually Amazon can still grow, as it has a better trust for the users than eventually these other apps. But this will be interesting to watch. And with that, I think we saw some amazing results from Amazon. The stock was up, and I'll bet we will see some amazing results in Q3 and Q4 as well, as there's some other good things happening, which we saw problems or issues last year. For example, last year we had problems with the inventory situations in the Amazon warehouses in Q4 and Q3, and this year this should all be fixed, and inventory should be easy to be sent in, and therefore people can do lots of deals, and we will see lots of money flowing into advertising as well. So I'm pretty bullish on Amazon. And with that, thank you very much for listening. See you and hear you tomorrow, and have a good day. Bye-bye.